South Florida Business Report, the only show in South Florida devoted exclusively to the local business community. Brought to you as a community service by Florida Blue in the pursuit of health, and by Child Group Wealth Management. Let us guide you. And by the Gehring Group, a premier insurance brokerage. Now here's all the local business news from the lemonade stand to the boardroom.
Well, coming up next, one of South Florida's innovative attorneys and businessmen, Peter Ticktin, who's launched a creative program for small businesses. In an interview taped earlier, I asked Peter what the program was all about.
Well, you know, we became leaders in the mortgage foreclosure field and found that we had thousands and thousands of clients where we were saving their homes, or attempting to save their homes at least. And we worked out a whole number of systems to make it much more cost effective. And once we had these systems in place, we found we were able to apply them to our normal business practice, because we've always represented businesses and we've always been doing business law. People think we're mortgage foreclosure lawyers, but really our base is far more in commercial litigation than it is in mortgage.
I might add, you're one of the top mortgage foreclosure defense attorneys in the state, and the Southeast, I should say.
And that's solely because of the fact that we approached mortgage foreclosure the way we do our other business cases. But in terms of businesses, we find that there's so many times that businesses, and we ourselves at one point in time before we had our own lawyers that really understood and knew employment law, we had to keep going to our employment lawyers. You know, what happens? I have an employee that has the smell of alcohol on his breath. What do I do? These questions come up sometimes several times a week, at least several times a month. So we now have a system where we are able to just do this on a low, flat monthly retainer and keep businesses safe, as opposed to having them scared to death that every time they pick up the phone it's going to cost them a fortune. Because cha-ching.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with lawyers charging by the hour. I mean, that's what lawyers do, except it needed something new in order to keep businesses safe, and that's our main thrust.
Well, you know, you have a very low, reasonable monthly retainer on this thing, you know.
Very low, yes. It's hundreds of dollars a month, and you know, gives them access to a lawyer. And not only that, we take care of their personal problems in terms of making sure they have a will and so on.
Yeah.
It's covered by this, and so are so many other factors.
Right. Well, you know, you're so right, you know, because the small business guy, he's out there and he's saying, well, I got a problem here, but I'm not going to pay $500 to pick up the phone and call a lawyer. You know,
if only they do. You know, stitching time saves 9. Right? If only they would call and we could get it all straight. I mean, sometimes, you know, you just better not take that step that you think that you need to take, because, you know, you may find that even though you're not discriminating against somebody, you know, the onus becomes on you to prove that you're not discriminating sometimes. You know, there are different ramifications for all kinds of actions, and by having access to somebody that give you the real answer and the real scoop and help you strategize as to how to make that next move. What do I do with that person who looks like they might be on drugs? What do I do with that person who's coming in late every morning? What do I do with this person who just insulted their manager? You know, there's
and for a small, you know, a couple $100 a month on a retainer, you know, to pick up the phone, you know, the tremendous amount of peace of mind. If you're a small business guy, you got maybe 3 or 4 employees, and you get nervous about when you want to fire somebody, you don't want to get a lawsuit on your hands, you know?
Right. Let's hope they get nervous about it, because if you don't get nervous about it, you're going to make a mistake and you're going to get sued. And being sued is so much more expensive than, lawsuits are not good for business, even if you think that they're good for you. The fact of the matter is they hold you in the past, they occupy your mind. When you're 2 o'clock in the morning, you wake up in the middle of the night and you're thinking about this person on the other side of the lawsuit. Lawsuits are good things to stay away from for most business, unless there's a really, really good reason for it.
And you guys can help the small businessman stay away from the lawsuit that'll just drive you nuts.
You know, I hate to say or criticize other lawyers, but there are lawyers in the community that make a living by finding ways of suing businesses. There are some lawyers that look around and find a ramp is an inch too short, and they go around suing all kinds of businesses for that kind of thing. And when it comes to employment law, there's a lot of lawyers that are ready to jump on and do whatever they can to make the employer's life miserable, so that that employer will capitulate and pay what they want them to
and
pay.
settle. They're doing. That's the main thing is I'll file suit and drive this guy nuts until he settles.
Until he settles. Yes, exactly. And very often that's what's in the best interest of the client, even though we hate to do it. And sometimes if we have a really good action where we really know we're not going to lose it, we'll go all the way with it. You know, if the client wants us to, we'll push it all the way, and we'll end up winning, and we'll win attorney's fees not only against the guy who's sued, but against his lawyer.
Well, not only small businesses that you handle, which is a terrific program that you guys got. Do you get involved with the big business guys, or do you stay away?
Oh, no. Of course we do. I mean, you know, right now we don't represent many banks. They don't like the name Ticktin very much with the mortgage foreclosure business because we defend against them. But you know, yes, we've got I can name some right here in Palm Beach County. You know, we've got some relatively large businesses that we do a good deal of their work.
Well, with your staff, though, you know, you started scratch, Peter. This is what I love about you guys. You started with zip, and now you got 31 lawyers covering all areas of practice. You know, that is terrific. You've just built a terrific organization.
Well, we are growing, and you have to remember also, I'm a businessman as well as a lawyer, so I understand what the businessman goes through. I was once a CEO of a publicly traded company, a small one.
Yeah.
But you know, the fact is, I've been there, done it. I've walked in those shoes. Being the head of the Ticktin Law Group, I'm in those shoes.
All right. Well, listen, Peter Ticktin, thanks for being here, and also I want to thanks for being the legal editor of the South Florida Business Report. You know, you're coming with some really great stuff coming up over the next several months about legal actions in small business and how to run a small business and stay out of trouble.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
And God bless you, Peter.
Thank you so much. It's a really pleasure to be here.
All right.
Thank you.
And stay with us. We'll return right after these words. Well, South Florida law schools churning out lawyers are charging a bundle with no guarantee of a job after graduation or passing the bar. University of Miami nails students for almost $44,000 a year. University of Florida, $22,000 a year, and Florida State, $21,000. And Nova Southeastern comes out at $35,000 a year. Out-of-state students are wrapped double in state rate for public schools. University of Miami tops the enrollments with 1,307 students. Well, on a programming note, our show's Saturday noon broadcast next week will be preempted by CBS Network sports coverage. We'll still be here for our Sunday 5:30 a.m. broadcast. That wraps up this week's edition of the South Florida Business Report. Stop by next week for the only show devoted to the local business community right here on CBS 12. And for more information on our show or to see the latest business headlines or to watch the show anytime 24/7, visit our website, sfbreport.com. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great week ahead.
The South Florida Business Report has been brought to you as a community service by Florida Blue in the pursuit of health, and by Child Group Wealth Management. Let us guide you. And by the Gehring Group, a premier insurance brokerage.